Alright, good morning. Like it or not, here we go again. So, if you hadn't seen yesterday, if you've been living under a rock, Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns have more drama surrounding the team. So, yesterday in the normal press conference they do on Wednesdays, after a team practice, Baker Mayfield stormed out at his press conference after being asked a question that he didn't appreciate, didn't agree with, didn't like. So there's been a lot of national talk on this. There's been a lot of arguing and fighting and yelling over should he have done it? Was it justified? You know, why did he do it? Here's my thing. In situations like this, context is the key. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you this video now.
After the blocked field goal at the end of the first half, the 2-minute drive, it seemed like there was a lack of urgency there. Was something going on?
There was a penalty, so we were negative yardage.
No, but there was a lot of time between snaps.
Well, when the penalty happened and we're behind the chains. No, stop saying but. I just told you the clock was running and we had a penalty. You want to give them the ball back? No, you don't play. You don't know it. That's just plain and simple. Was I happy with the drive? No, we didn't score points. It's the dumbest question you could ask. What? Jesus, Tony.
So, you know, as you can see, he was upset. He was frustrated. But here's what a lot of people don't know. So, this guy, Tony Grossi, has been in the Cleveland media for years. He is known to be the kind of guy to try to stir things up, try to stir the pot, get guys upset, get them going. And this could have happened with any player at any time, because especially in the recent weeks and months, there's been, with all the hype, with all the dysfunction, with the losing that's going on, there's been a lot of talk, all right? And 9 times out of 10, the guy to, like I said, try to get guys fired up, stir that pot, has been Tony Grossi. Baker Mayfield and Tony, his whole career has gone at, they have never liked each other. Even before the draft, before Baker was even technically on the Cleveland Browns, they've been fighting. So, Baker and this guy have a history, all right? So they don't like each other, just plain and simple. And it's not just this guy. Cleveland media as a whole has been very suspect when it comes to things like this. They have tried to push narratives. They've had to try to get guys to take things a certain way in which maybe they didn't want to get the story going that way. This has been something that has been going on for a long time now, and I'm not surprised this happened. I'm not. I'm not necessarily saying that Baker should have done it. I'm not saying that he's completely fine with what he did. I think there should be some sort of punishment. But am I surprised that somebody clapped back at this guy? No, I'm not. And like I said, it's not just Baker who has had troubles with this guy. It has been Freddie, it has been Chubb, it has been Baker, like I said, other coaches. It's go down the line of the whole roster. It's everybody has had these issues with this guy. Baker immediately, so the reporter asked Baker if he was happy with the drive, talking about the drive in which there was the penalty on the punt, and then Freddie sent out the offense, which I think we all can agree is stupid. That should have never happened. So, but anyway, we can argue about that another day. It happened. So he was asked, was I happy with the drive? Baker responds, no, we didn't score points. That's the dumbest question you could ask. Less than an hour after the fact, Baker goes to Twitter. And this is the one thing that I'm concerned most about. I'm not necessarily concerned about the fact that when he goes to reporters, if he wants to have a little bit of a response, I'm not saying he's fine doing this every time, But am I mad that he's not letting somebody who wants to get a response and wants to set the narrative? Am I mad that he's clapping back at them? Not really. I'm not completely fine with it, like I said. But like I said, I'm not surprised, being the fact, the history that these guys have. But later Baker tweeted out, "Everybody wants to hear the truth unless they actually get it, ... I am who I said I am. I've always been that way. Don't call it emotional when it's convenient and the passion when it fits. I care about winning, so yeah, I'm frustrated. If I was to act like it's okay to lose, then y'all would be upset." And he's right. That's who he is. I've been saying this for a while now. Baker Mayfield is who he is. He's not going to change. If you don't like that style of quarterback, you're not going to like him his whole career, because this is just who he is. He's not going to care what you think. He's going to go out and he's going to find motivation. A lot of people are saying, well, this reflects, a college kid or a high school kid, who's got an attitude, who wants to be a certain way, wants to be cocky. And yes, this is true. He has been cocky. He has been arrogant. But don't mistake this for somebody who has been spoiled. Baker Mayfield, his whole career, has had to fight. As far as on the field, I'm just talking on the field, has had to fight to get to the top. He's done that everywhere he's been. Same thing in Cleveland. We know last year with Hugh Jackson, with getting brought in on Hard Knocks and saying, hey, congratulations, you're the second stringer, when you're the first overall pick in the draft. So you've seen this for a long time, all right? This is nothing new. This is just who he is. He finds motivation. Now, is it fine that that's how he gets his motivation? He says he's best when he's mad. That is true. You can look at his whole career. When he's got a chip on his shoulder, that's when he's at his best. But Baker Mayfield has got to learn how to use that. Right now, he's using that for, he's trying to look for things to get mad at. People mistake this for being arrogant and cocky when it's just him trying to get that chip on his shoulder. When he has his starting spot and when he's comfortable, he's not as good. That's why you've seen him struggle. One of many reasons why you've seen the Browns struggle this year. So I think this was just a matter of Baker hit his breaking point. I don't think this is how he is, as far as he's gonna treat everybody this way. I think this is just a situation where week after week, question after question, it's been the same thing over and over. And I think Baker has finally hit that breaking point where it's like, no, we're not gonna let you try to do this to us. We know the agenda here. We know what you guys are trying to do. Like I said, they've had their history. I think he's just got tired of it. He snapped. And actually, I think he did not good, but he did a decent job handling the situation. I think, especially myself, I tend to get angry pretty quick. It's not a good thing. But in a situation like that, when you have the hype that you've had, and your locker room is a little bit up and down right now, the questions are going to be harder than they actually need to necessarily be. Sports media market is all about getting the ratings, getting that, that narrative, trying to set the story up. These guys have an agenda. They always have. And when you ask players like Baker Mayfield, who has that fire, who has that motivation, questions like this over and over and over, remember, Baker was a big part in getting Freddie hired. I don't believe Freddie Kitchens should be the head coach. I said it back then. I agreed with the hire just because of it would be a simple transition in-house to move him up to the head coaching position. I thought it was going to work out. It has not. So Baker is feeling the fire from that, being the fact that he was such a huge part in getting Freddie hired. He's feeling the fire of the fact that he's in 50,000 commercials with Progressive, with Hulu. You see them every day. You see them in college football games. You see them in baseball games. You see them in the World Series last night. They are everywhere. You can't escape them. And partially because of the fact that last year, Baker Mayfield was the first quarterback in a long time to truly turn things around in Cleveland. Now, I know what you're saying. He didn't necessarily do a whole lot of stuff. What has he done? That's the argument that's always been thrown out. Well, first of all, he went on an organization with the head coach of Hugh Jackson. That says a lot right there. So, not only was he able to kind of survive that situation, when Tyrod Taylor went down in a big primetime game against the Jets, yes, I know it's the Jets, he stepped up and he was playing lights out. Literally lights out. Last year, from then on, did he play fantastic? No. But as a rookie quarterback, he broke the passing touchdown record that was previously held by Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson. That put your name in good company. He was able to do things with this team that has not been done in a long time. So, was the hype justified? Yeah, because when you're on a franchise like this who's suffered and who hasn't been able to see the success, of course when they finally get that little glimpse, it's going to get blown up. But it's the same thing now. You go out and you get Odell Beckham Jr., you go get Olivier Vernon, who had a great game in the Patriots game, by the way. You draft Grady Williams, you get these guys who are names, and then you struggle as much as you are. We can point the blame 5 different directions, but when that's all adding up and that's all piling on the shoulders, your quarterback is the one who's going to get blamed for a lot of it, whether if he deserves it or not. And his performance this year so far has not helped him at all as far as that goes. But like I said, it was going to happen sooner or later. It just happened to be Baker Mayfield was the one to say it. And I think it could have gotten much worse. I think would I have wanted him to handle that better? Absolutely. But I don't think it's as bad as many people think it is. Just from the standpoint of, some people are saying Baker's not your franchise quarterback anymore. Those people hate the Browns. There's a lot of people that hate Baker Mayfield. His style, his character does not fit a lot of people. But I think that this was waiting to happen. And this is just who he is. This is why it happened with him. The only part, like I said, I don't agree with was him on Twitter immediately. It wasn't like he waited later to hear the arguments. It was immediately, as soon as it happened, he was on Twitter making his case on why he's fine. I don't necessarily think that's a great thing, because I feel like you look at some of the styles and some of the players who are similar to him. If you go immediately to Twitter and you just want to talk, that puts even bigger target on your chest. He's already got a huge target on his chest just because of, like we said, with the commercials and everything else. But is it as bad as some people are going to say it is? No. He's just not the style of person or quarterback that a lot of people would like. He's very much a diva. But here's the thing. When you're losing, this is what happens. If we go out and we beat the Broncos Sunday and we do it in a great fashion, the weather's supposed to be good. I think it's like 50s, sunny. Baker had his best game last week. In my opinion, one of his best games last week against Patriots. Aside from the little shovel pass and the other mistakes, it was a lot better. And I think with McCray starting at left tackle, maybe you see Wyatt Teller at right guard come in. I don't know. These little moves on the line seem to have helped. I think if you come out and you dominate and you win Sunday and you look great, I think a lot of this turns around. Season's not over. I think this is just, he's been sitting back, getting hammered by the media, having to listen to all this talk about him. I think this was just a situation of he needed to blow some steam off. He was frustrated. Maybe it was a bad practice. I don't know. But I think there's a little bit of an overreaction. Like I say, am I giving him a pass? No, I'm not. But I do think that it was a little bit of an overreaction from the standpoint of the national media. Yes, he's not Deshaun Watson, who's going to sit there and say, this is the play design, this is what went wrong, this is what happened. But this is just who he is, like it or not. So I think this might just be his little bit of motivation that he needs to get a fire, get going. Hopefully in this back half of the season, things are going to go a lot better than they went in the first half. But you know what? We'll see. All right. So yeah, that was a whole situation there. So we'll see what goes on Sunday. I think it's either going to be more of the same that you've seen from the first half, or it's going to be a blowout for the Browns. You just look at the game on how, you know, the teams are doing, how they match up talent-wise. The weather plays a huge part. Plays a big part for Denver that they're at home. But I think this is a game we could easily come out, dominate, win, and start to get things back on track. So anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Tell me if you agree. Let me know. Do you think Baker was a little bit out of hand? Do you believe that it was justified? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.